Boys, this video is for 5 people. And I don't know who they are, but it's for 5 people, okay? This is my first time filming in this car without a tripod, so I've got it in a weird configuration, but you guys can still hear me, so we're gonna roll. Guys, this is for 5 people because some of you listening to this are gonna want to be truly exceptional, truly unique in the life path that you pursue. You're gonna wanna do something that breaks expectations. And then a lot of you are gonna start on that path. Statistically, a lot of you watching this are gonna start on that path, but then you're gonna stop. And the reason why you're gonna stop is because you start facing difficulties. And not just that, because you've faced difficulties before, and when you had to, you overcame them. When it was necessary for your survival, you overcame it. But for this specific difficulty on the path of your journey to greatness, to maximize the potential of the man that God has called you to be, on this particular difficulty, you're gonna give up. Why? Because you're falling into spiritual warfare. The evil poison, the cancerous growth of the sin nature and the weakness brought about by the fall that is in your body is poisoning you. It poisons your mind with these ideas that you don't have what it takes. There's no hope. That it's too hard, that it's not worth it. And the voice of God and the voice of your spirit dwindles into the background. And then on top of that, you'll start hearing negative messages, words and phrases and feelings that will seem to pop out of nowhere in a random kind of way that will evoke in you these feelings of shame and inferiority. And guys, I know this from personal experience. I know this because this is what I've been going through the past few days. I've been feeling weak. I've been feeling like I'm not up to the task, drained of my energy, drained of my creative power, drained of my ambition and vision. But I'm locked in because I know that there is an evil agenda in this world to suppress men who are pursuing greatness, to suppress men who are seeking after God. There is an agenda in this world to stop us in our tracks through deluding us, through defiling us, through defeating us, through the tactics of this world, whether it be dirty websites, flings with women, alcohol, drugs, video games, binging food, sleeping too much. The world wants you weak. And when you start to realize your strength and you start to journey down this path of greatness and you encounter difficulty, that's when the voice of weakness calls. That's when the spiritual warfare truly begins. Because you know what? Satan doesn't really care about you, I'm sorry, unless you're a threat. But if you are a threat, if you are pursuing the kingdom of God, then he starts to care. He starts to care a lot. And a lot of us are so naive to spiritual warfare that we sit and we think, oh, I just must not have what it takes. Oh, this must just be too hard. Oh, this is just not for me. What if it is for you? What if greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world? What if he has given you what it takes to walk in the works which he has prepared beforehand for you? What if it's spiritual warfare and self-doubt put in place by sin and the enemy to dissuade you from the path? What if it's that? Well, I can tell you this much. You'll never know if you turn around. You'll never know. You'll die unfulfilled. You'll die like most men die, a shadow of who they could have been. Not for me. Not for me. And I pray not for you. I pray not for you. There's a story in the Old Testament that speaks very plainly to this. For those of you who are familiar, you'll recall God called the Israelites out of Egypt. He spoke to his servant Moses at a burning bush in the middle of the wilderness. He said, I'm going to take you out of Egypt and I'm going to bring you into a land flowing with milk and honey. That's code for prosperity and abundance. I'm going to take you to this abundant place. And there's going to be enemies there, and you're going to defeat them, and it's going to be great. He lays out a whole plan. And eventually, it all takes place. Moses and the Israelites leave Egypt, and they get to a better place. This is turning into a sauna. I gotta let some air in here. Let's see if I can. Well. Oh, I see. The key's in the car. Oh, there we go. That's the fun of these no clips. Whew, no edit takes. So eventually Moses and them are at the edge of the promised land, right? They're there, they're at the precipice of receiving the promise of God. And before they enter into the promised land, they send in spies. They send 12 spies, one from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. And the spies go into the promised land, and then when they return, they give word of what they saw. And what did they see? They saw everything that God had promised. Abundance, rich soil, luscious fruits, great landscape. Everything was great. Except the land was inhabited by strong enemies. Now, this is where 10 out of 12 of the spies wanted to give up. And this is where 10 out of 12 of you will want to give up. Is when you're on the edge of the promised land and it's everything that God said it would be. Your path of greatness is right before you. He has brought you so far out of so much, through so much. For why? It's not so you can turn around, but guess what the Israelites wanted to do? They wanted to turn around. There were two spies, Joshua and Caleb. They have a bigger part to play later, but Joshua and Caleb were the two spies out of 10 that said, you know what? It is going to be tough, but we can beat them. We got this. You know why? Because God is with us, so we can do it. And you know what the Israelites wanted to do to Joshua and Caleb? They didn't say, shh, quiet. They didn't say, you guys are demoted from spy position. They said, let's stone these guys. Not with weed, with stones. Let's kill these guys. The two positive guys that believed in God, that believed, oh, you know that promise he made to us? The same God who walked us through the plagues, the same God who walked us through the Red Sea, the same guy who walked us through the wilderness to get to the promised land, who got us all the way here. Hey, call us crazy, but we think he can deliver on his promise to get us into the promised land and have us defeat our enemies. But you know what? 10 out of 12 spies didn't think that way. They let the spiritual warfare, the fear, the self-doubt, the lack of faith in the God that got them that far to say, you know what? Let's abort this mission. Let's not do it. Not only did they want to stone Joshua and Caleb, but they said, hey, what about we elect somebody to take us back into slavery? Actually, that's actually what they said. Let's go back to the place that we hated so much, because at least there we know what to expect. At least there we don't have to be making these hard decisions. At least there we don't have to fight nobody. We can just be whipped every day and do hard manual labor. But hey, at least we're not fighting anybody. At least we're not worrying about getting, killed by a sword, right? And the punishment for that was that God sent all of them back, including Joshua and Caleb. They all had to go back and wander around in circles for 40 years until all the non-believer adults that didn't catch the vision, that didn't have faith, died. God ran circles with those fools in the wilderness for 40 years until all of them died off that didn't believe. That was the punishment for lack of faith. Now, thankfully for us, it's not always that bad. Because trust me, guys, there are times when I, the men's coach, feel inadequate, weak, tired, hopeless. I don't have a connection to the future. I don't have connection to vision, to the fire. And guys, that's going to be you too. No matter what level you get to, different levels, different devils. You cross one threshold of faith, God's going to have another one for you. You do one big thing, you get used in one mighty way, you see one miracle, he's going to have another one for you till the day you die. That's part of the game, baby. I just want you to understand that the reason that you're not progressing over time is because you're doing loop-de-loops in the wilderness. Because time and time again, when you get to the edge of the promised land and the momentum is there and the energy is there and you can see the goal right in front of you, you say, oh, those giants, they look a bit too big. How about we regress? How about we go back? And I get it, man. I get it, because I feel that way too. Because in the moment, all you can see is how big they are and how small you are. And you don't understand that a little kid with a slingshot can take one of those things out. That doesn't cross your mind. You don't think about that. You just think about how insurmountable the task is. You don't see God, so you're not thinking with your brain. You don't see like how he's going to do it. It doesn't cross your mind to walk around a city wall 7 times and then it's going to fall over when you yell. That doesn't cross your mind. I get it. So you sit there, just like I do, and you say, man, going back to slavery would be kind of nice, actually. I wouldn't mind that. Because at least I got food on the plate. It wasn't very good, but I got food on the plate. I knew what I had to do. There wasn't all this fear. Spiritual warfare. Y'all know the enemy doesn't want you to cross that threshold. The enemy wants you weak. He wants you back in slavery. Don't let him win, guys. Don't let him win. This has been For the Boys, episode 7. I appreciate all of you. Make sure you're following on Instagram at NarrowWayMan. Like, subscribe, comment, all that. I'll see you next time.